sure. Awaiting a guest. Let's see. Oops. Sorry, guys. I'm dickering with things. Rescue, good to see you. JBS, what's up? Welcome to We All Gonna Die Wednesday. Little different. Little different. Not sure what's going on here. This is interesting. Eric, thank you for the 5x5. Appreciate it, my friend. Let's see. Trying to pull up a monitor here so I can see the chat a little bit better. But, you know, try and find your own live stream on YouTube on a separate device. Good luck. Katie, good evening. TDDR, good to see you. Gen X Gemini, Miss OVP. Ohio Valley prepping himself in the house. What's up, everybody? It's freaking cold here in New York, man. It's cold. It's rainy. We got a nor'easter coming. They're talking about potential for snow in the high country here. Where? Oh, where is my guest? What is this? Is this remove guest? They'll be removed immediately. No. Don't remove guest. Where is the guest? That is the question. Dunno. Can't make him speed. Cap. Oops. Good to see you. Can't make him speed. Oh, good golly. Gotta find some stuff here. Let's see if I can find myself. If it'll even tell me. Oh yeah, it says I'm live here. There we go. Cool. There's the chat. Love it. Add the guest. Rescue. I don't even see a button, bro. There ain't shit here. All it says is remove a motherfucker. All right, let's see. And back to it. Let's see. Best I can do. There we go. Boom. Guest should be added. Got it. Booyah. What's up, Livingston Man?
Hello. Do I have full audio? Can you hear me?
I got you 5x5, big fella.
Awesome. Okay, I can hear myself talking too, so I don't have to yell like I have earplugs in.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining me tonight, Mr. Livingston Man. Appreciate it. And I stumbled across an article. Well, early this morning, right? I was reading the morning news and I came across this article, and it tweaked me just a little bit. And Livingston Man brought me some clarity on it a little later in the day. And I'd like to share this one with everybody here. Hang on, I'm gonna try and drop this link in the chat. No, I don't want your YouTube Premium. No, I don't want it. Let's see.
Are you sure you don't want the 2-month trial, bro? Are you sure?
Dude, I don't know how many times I have to say. I mean, no means no. Come on. Boom. Article is in the chat for y'all to click on. You can check it out yourselves. Right to the fridge. To the fridge he goes. King Corso, good to see you. Juby Joe, what's up? So this article talks a lot about preparedness, and I thought it was relevant in the fact that we're preppers, right? Scott Hummer, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in.
Some would say.
So, article.
Don't mind my instability. I'm setting up a tripod.
Do it. It says, once getting ready for the apocalypse was for the paranoid. Now, in the face of cyber attacks, climate breakdowns, and nuclear threats, the UK government recommends it. Should everyone have a survival kit? I think that's a resounding yes from me, right? I think everybody should have a survival kit, and not just have one, but know how to use everything that's in it. I think that's the most important part. Would you agree, Mr. Livingston Man?
I definitely would. This just harkens back to the 50s and 60s, civil defense, preparedness thing. Our government at one time also advocated strongly for these exact measures. This really isn't anything new. It's it's a shame that it's sort of still like a target of derision here in America when it actually originated here.
Yeah, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. The article goes on to state that this is a great time to be a shopkeeper if that shop is for those worried about the breakdown of civilization. It started with COVID, and people weren't looking for toilet paper. I'll put it that way, says Justin Jones, who runs the online UK prepping shop, whose stock ranges from emergency foods and wind up radios to crossbows and body armor. Business is booming, as is the British prepping scene, since the 22,700 members of the UK Preppers Survivalist Facebook group and 6,000 in the UK Preppers Club Facebook group. The scene is not as well known as its US and Canadian equivalents, but that's partly by choice. Preppers are by nature a little bit secretive. Wouldn't you say, Livingston Man?
Yeah, the it's like that thing when everyone's like measuring up their members.
Mm.
It's the ones that don't really talk so much about it that really got like something in the box, and it's everybody that wants to be loud about it. They ain't got shit, you know.
So Bushra Shadez, who is researching prepping for a PhD in marketing and consumer behavior at Newcastle University. They are skeptical of people who aren't part of it asking questions, which I think is because they're portrayed in a manner that many of them don't agree with. There are other differences from the North American scene, which you'll pick up immediately when you watch Canadian Preppers 100 Things to Prepare for What's Coming video on YouTube. You're probably a prepper if you do the following things. In the UK, private ownership of firearms is uncommon and highly restricted, so that cuts out a huge amount of what a US or Canadian prepper would think of as a core activity. Owning guns, cleaning them, learning how to use them, burying them in an outdoor cache. Plus, we really don't have the space to go off grid in the UK, says Leon. His name has been changed. He runs another prepping supply website. So nobody is going to have a bug out secondary location or grab and go bag fully stocked to rendezvous with their loved ones. And yet the same geopolitical weather is hitting us all, and there are common themes haunting people and spiking sales of prepper products. The news, I think, drives these sales more than anything. I don't think there's a better preparedness salesman than the Canadian prepper, and they reference him several times in this article. And I brought to the Livingston Man's point that they're really riding on the Canadian prepper here, like hard, bro, like real hard. I I don't get it. I don't know why they're ball rubbing them so much. And Livingston Man said,
The Guardian, the source of this article, is a United Kingdom-based news source, and Canada being a member of the Commonwealth of Nations and actually, part of the under the British Crown. He's like their guy in North America.
mm, yeah, yeah, I guess
Why he got the mention is because they were like, look at this guy.
it's crazy.
We all know and love the guy. Of course, he's a little bit of a controversial figure amongst our channels, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I just see his fear-driven sales as some bullshit. In my opinion, he's literally playing on people's fears to make a profit, and I think it's in bad taste. Is his pockets lined? Yes. Do people buy that stuff? Yes. I think he's a smart dude, and I think he's taking full advantage of the situation, is what I think. So that's my opinion of him, and to each their own. To each their own. I'm a non-subscriber. That's all I'm gonna say.
oh, you raise a lot of philosophical questions there. Does he provide like useful knowledge? Who is and how many of us are indeed like profiting from the quote unquote situation? Whether it's
Well, I,
I mean, if you really want to look above him and like, who's the people that are making the things that he's selling? Who's the people writing the stories that he's repeating?
yeah.
The rabbit hole goes both above you and below you when you start
Oh, no
looking
doubt
at
about it. No doubt about it. It runneth deep, Livingston Man. It runneth deep. Let's see. And we go on here. It says during COVID, it was freeze dried food, and a lot of people started looking into things a bit deeper, Jones says. I've had retired GPs buying off me. I've got vets buying off me. It's completely opened up. It's not the old Rambo nuts. When Russia invaded Ukraine, Jones continues, we sold out like mad on gas masks, nuclear protection stuff, potassium iodide. We did a month's trade in a day and a half. It's all military grade. We don't sell stuff that's 30 years old. They're not cosplaying preparedness, in other words. They're buying real, tangible items. I think it's super important, man, to know the difference between these fake gimmicky items, old military surplus, which is good for like a prop or maybe practice. But
Yeah,
these things have been so worn out over the years that it's probably not serviceable. Would you agree, Livingston Man?
yeah. I would. That vintage stuff is like the stuff you remember playing with out of your dad's like box of Vietnam shit, like but like to without inspection, maintenance, cycling through duty cycles and what have you. Like don't be pulling out World War II vintage like gear. Yeah.
True
Now
story.
I hear you. I hear you guys in the background. I opened a sea ration from 1939 and it was just fine. Okay, yeah, maybe, but not the gas mask filter, not the, and even a lot of the clothing, the gear and stuff like this. It's obsolete for a reason.
Yeah.
And if rather than spending money on stuff like that, just save up and get something current, because something current can handle modern threats, things that are thought of today, not things that are thought of 50, 60, 80 years ago.
Good point. Good point. Some things that have been invented since those filters were built may not protect against them. Good point, Livingston Man. So the writer of this article cautions respect around survivalism. Preppers are not hysterical. They're very informed, she says, or maybe the second leads to the first. They have a range of worries: geopolitical, economic, climate, international politics also. They're very well read and much more interested in what's happening around them than others. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I
Wholeheartedly.
remember I remember that from the article. You were like, read this article. I remember that part
Yeah.
specifically. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. She goes on to state that when the blackouts hit Spain and Portugal, we have these wind-up dynamo solar-powered radios, Jones says. I usually sell about 10 a week. I sold 40 in one day. It was my entire stock. So it lends to the credence that folks are not doing their due diligence, or that these incidents are popping the light bulb of preparedness on in people and sparking that the growth in that preparedness seed that we talk about planting all the time, right, Livingston Man? I think maybe events like this that happen, I think it sparks something in people, a primal instinct to not just survive but thrive, right? It's like, man, things are getting bad. It's up to me. I'm the only one here doing anything. Let's get it going, right?
As well, yeah, that too. All right, I see you leaning toward the bright side, but of course I'm gonna like throw a little salt and vinegar on it.
Well, it
Panic.
is. We
It's a
all gonna
panic.
die Wednesday.
It's a panic buy mentality. Um,
Mm,
where of course those who were previously complacent are all of a sudden spurred to action by an impulsive event and then an impulsive decision. They're like, I mean, so yes, cool. So like, yeah, like if they bought him out of his supply of gas masks, 9 out of 10 of those people are gonna die because they don't know how to use the fucking thing.
yeah.
And it's become a loot drop. But hey, at least they bought that. So it's good to see the complacency in people being erased a little bit. People waking up being like, "Oh my god, I spurred to action." But well, every time it doesn't happen, it breeds more complacency. And then that gas mask gets put further and further underneath the laundry on the chair. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
you got to stay a little bit vigilant in the face of all this unprecedented everything that happens all day long, and then nothing actually happens.
It's that
You have to,
frog in the pot, right?
yeah, you gotta like toe this line between like, no man, like I gotta stay ready, but like, yeah, I gotta like live my life and do my thing too
Absolutely.
without.
Absolutely. And I agree with you 100%. It's a hell of a juggling act, right? Because I feel that folks who prepare, folks who are survivalists, bushcrafters, no matter what your trade craft is, you could be a musician, right? You're a rock star on the weekends or after work, and 9 to 5, you still gotta do that thing. It's We have to live with a foot in two worlds, right? So you have to prepare for the worst, and at the same time, you're hoping for the best with your business or your rock band or whatever it is that you got going on. But at this, I'm it's insurance, right? It's insurance. It's a little bit of insurance to make sure that tomorrow is a little bit easier on us. That's my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you really hope that you have it and don't need it, then you need it and don't have it. That's just that sums up the entire mindset. Really is, and it's no more. And you're like, well, isn't that a waste of my time and money and resources? I mean, well, then, I mean, do you pay for health insurance? What other insurance do you like put out of pocket for in your life? But and
Yeah.
this is one that you don't have to fight middlemen to collect on. This is one you don't have to rely on others to be able to benefit from. But strangely enough, if you like come to rely and interact with others of the same mindset, you get an exponential growth from your investment. There's no other insurance in the world that works like this.
It's true. It's true. It's the one insurance that you actually hold the policy in hand, right? I think that's a really good way to put it, Livingston Man. So this article also goes on to state that freeze-dried food is also flying off the shelves. I think a lot of people are on edge about cyber attacks, Jones continues. My local co-op is empty. There's hardly anything. Anna, 40, took the fundamentals of preparedness as a basic common sense. Originally from Eastern Europe, now living with her husband and 4-year-old daughter in Wales, she always grew her own food and knew how to preserve and prepare it. What made me increase prepping was COVID. I was heavily pregnant by myself in the hospital and had an emergency cesarean section. I couldn't breastfeed my baby. My pantry was always prepared, but people were buying baby formula to put in their tea until stocks were so low it was going for 300
What?
pounds on
What
eBay.
the fuck? Sorry,
But
say that again. What? People putting baby formula in their tea?
yeah, yeah. Apparently, this is over in Europe, obviously. So um, things are a little different over there, but there was a global formula shortage, right?
Putin, do your thing, bro. I'm done.
It says, but if her contingency planning is sharper, she's still hedging against a pause in the supply chains rather than the end of civilization. I can't suddenly run away into the forest like all of the macho guys do on YouTube. It's really funny. They all have families and wives they're not talking about. And that's very, very true. This is why we preach 4 walls and a roof to 4 walls and a roof. That tarp, the hammock, the little tiny one-man tent, it's all cool for when you're camping and you're by yourself. But when you're with your family, when you have people you need to protect, that stuff really doesn't give you any solid shelter, right? It just gives you a little bit of protection from the elements for a short period of time. Um, Bug in. I want to, but I'm always keeping the option of moving on the table. right? As soon as you lock yourself into bugging in, your days are numbered. The clock starts ticking. The resupply is on the menu, right? It should be on the menu from the moment that you say, I'm staying. And you should have some serious contingencies when it comes to food production, food procurement, the things that you are going to need if you're going to stay, right?
I'm gonna shout to all my homesteaders. Got your 10 acres and a mule and everything else. You got it set up. Can you defend it? Do you have the manpower? Did you have the people power to defend it though? Because like, yeah, you've built something that's awesome and it was working, it's beautiful. But what happens when it's like you, your spouse, and your small child against the world?
Mm,
There's gonna have to come a time where maybe you're gonna have to open your gates to like folks that
yeah,
can lend a hand
absolutely.
to, because you can't be awake all night. Because I'm gonna wait till you fall asleep. It's simple as that. And so would any worthy adversary. Is just gonna wait until you can't possibly be everywhere at once. You can't hold down your whole shit all by yourself. Out, it's an unsustainable system. All of us will have to open our minds to the idea of letting in. This comes up a lot, of letting in people you really wish you didn't have to.
Mm, for the greater good
Forming
sometimes.
forming a community, because at the end of the day, God bless you, lone wolf types, and you don't need nobody and stuff. But like, yeah, you do. And it's you got to recognize that sooner or later. Is that unless you're going to be that fucking crazy guy from Waterworld, man, that's stuck out at sea too long. You ever seen Paper?
Mm,
You ever seen Paper? You just get clapped. You get clapped for your paper, bro. That's as simple as that. This dude's crazy. Is all. You need to start working on your community, and you need to start worrying about deducing your actual like red lines, like go, no go for
yeah,
people type of thing. Especially if you got something like worth defending and worth living for.
absolutely. I like Sorosa's comment here. It says respect, but where are we to go? The woods? I think the woods is a really bad idea unless you know of a place that's abandoned or unoccupied that you can occupy yourself. I think, honestly, Sorosa, the best bet is to start making friends now, especially in your local-ish area. If you had to bug
Sorosha,
out,
that's
if you
spelled.
had,
That's pronounced Sorsha.
okay, thank you, Sorsha.
Daily.
Um,
My wife
if
is Irish.
if you had to move again, four walls and a roof to four walls and a roof, make friends. I think 150 to 200 miles from your prospective location now is a good jumping distance. If you had to get away from something, say hurricane based, 150 miles can be a huge difference in the amount of storm that you're going to receive. Um, Something like what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, right? If you can get 150 miles away, the right wind direction away from something like that, you're a hell of a lot safer than you are closer to it, right? So it doesn't have to be a super long distance, right? You don't have to go from New York to Florida. You just have to get to, say, Southern Tier Prepper, or we got to get down to Pennsylvania where, NY Prepper is, or maybe we have to go even further, that whole 700 miles and hit up Ohio.
Who the fuck is we?
The family.
I'm
Obviously,
going
if I'm
okay because
going somewhere, I'm not going alone. So,
we listen, because if shit hits the fan, I don't care what kind of grid goes down. I don't care how many megatons be blasted off in the atmosphere. But when the homies roll up and they're like, hop in, we're going to Ohio, I'll be like, I'm going to chill.
mm,
Thank you. Like, I'm not going. Ohio is already pretty sketchy. Sus, the kids might call it. It's pretty sus, bro. Whatever the
Michigan
whatever.
Outpost says nuclear power plant, 10 minutes from me, and shit hit the fan. We're bouncing. See, you got your priorities, man. You got your priorities. It's
That's a person that should have a bug out bag and an inch vehicle like standing by at all times. Like
absolutely, absolutely. It's
statistically very unlikely to be a problem, but if it is a problem, it is a huge one.
absolutely, absolutely, and knowing the dangers in your neck of the woods puts you so far ahead of everybody else, man. It really does. If you know that these things are possible, right, then at least you can plan for it.
See, that one dude, he figured me out. See, actually, the plan for me is to go to Ohio because he'll never find me there. He would never go to Ohio.
Good golly. The article goes on to state that 10 years ago, this was a very different scene. Lincoln Miles had just opened the UK's first prepper shop in Bedfordshire, and I went to see who was buying what. There were young men hunting small game, buying wire saws that would bring down trees or go through bones, according to the packaging. But pretty small bones of squirrels, pigeons, rabbits, shot with air rifles with the landowner's permission. There was a family, 2 middle-aged parents, 2 teenage boys, who were pretty sweetly trying to harmonize the parents' interest, living remotely, getting away from it all in self-sufficiency with the kids, using a catapult, dressing up in camouflage. This is broadly what Jonesley meant by the Ramboon Nuts. People who want nothing more than oh, that's a total typo. Nothing more than complacency to feel that they are equal to the elemental tasks of surviving. Killing, skinning, cooking, eating. I guess not getting thirsty. There was a lot of water purification even back then. You're not doing this right, according to Canadian Prepper, unless you have at least 2 weeks worth of water and at least 3 ways to filter and purify it. I do kind of agree with him on that one.
This fucking article was written by someone that like this had never occurred to before. They're like smitten with this idea. Are you kidding me? This is like I appreciate the glowing review of the prepping idea, but this just sounds like yeah.
True. I'm going to drop
the
article again here in the chat for everybody so you can check it out yourselves.
I'm like, how old is this person?
I don't honestly.
Where
I don't
have
know.
you been the whole time? You guys come with me. I gotta go find out later.
Well, he's off to the races.
Come with me, bro. I have a mobile live
Oh.
Mike had last night before Mike left after the 4 Horsemen, he had the gall to ask me, "Do you have a cell phone?" I'm like, holder, bro. It's like talking to, bro.
He's got the gimbal in the whole nines. Savage Lee says Canadian Prepper used to have some awesome handsaws, though, huh? I don't know, man. I've never shopped his website or anything like that. I used to really like his videos back when he did his gear reviews and stuff. He did a lot of gear reviews and fair ones. You know what I mean? He didn't really oversell something. He just stated what it was and put it out there for everybody. And if you liked it, then he had it available on his website. When he started selling items with fear is when I got totally turned off. Jay Creature said, bring back the Osmo 3 for real.
We don't even need it, bro. We got what do they call this? Action steady. Look at that. Fucking steady. Fucking steady.
Oh man.
All I want is a lighter and I can't find one. Found one.
Dan Rose, that's pretty funny. He says at Livingston Man's court appearance, ladies, did this man appear near your home in Ohio? Oh man. Grit and Grace, I'm sorry about your internet. Thank you so much for stopping in tonight. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. So tonight, being that everything is a little different, if you're watching on an iPhone or an Android, and you can pick one of us to poke in the face, and there should be some subscribe buttons up top here somewhere for the Livingston Man's channel and Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. If you're not subscribed already, get over there and do the things, push the buttons, poke me in the nose, poke the Livingston Man in the nose, like this, subscribe to my homie over there, the Livingston Man. Sadie M has 10 boxes of matches. I misplace my lighters all the time. It's an unfortunate habit. They're small, and if I have a lighter, I like to tend to bring the little dinky ones around. Nobody else has this lighter. This is my custom Mickwick mini Bic. Ooh, see that? See that? Ooh, one of a kind.
Mickwick needs to put a strike anywhere match in the middle of the fire starter itself, so you can and
True
quick
story.
a quick wick.
Ooh.
Let me get just give me my 5%.
Shout out to Mr. Mick.
Just give me my 5% and quick wick. It's my idea.
There it is. Sold
Make it happen.
Sold it. Sold it to me. Let's see. This article goes on to state that you could also just call it bushcraft. A bushcrafter is sat inside and wishes they were outside, says David, a bushcraft expert. A prepper is outside and wishes they were inside. It's an attitude difference. David isn't his real name. He has some pretty salty views on preppers and doesn't want them on his case. He recalls going to prepper sites during COVID. You've never seen so many disappointed people, he says, because an emergency came along and all they had to do was stay home. Interesting. Long-term food acquisition is going to be really important, David says, whether that's foraging or hunting, but it's very, very skilled thing. Unless you really experienced, you're never going to catch anything. You get preppers saying, I've got a couple of snares, so I'll be fine. Ultimately, bushcraft boils down to a deep knowledge of the natural world. The preppers I've come across just aren't prepared to put in the time. What they've focused on is buying stuff. I could not agree with David more. If your plan for long-term survival is you are going to hunt and fish your way into prosperity, I got news for you, man. You are going to be awful hungry. Awful hungry. And you're going to be awful tired. And it's going to be a miserable existence while you starve to death. Because you are probably one of 2,500 people I've heard in just the local area say that they're doing exactly that when SHTF. So if 50% of them are successful, the deer population is instantly decimated, and there are no more deer around here for anybody to hunt. And unless you are super experienced and know the deep, deep woods, you will probably never see a deer again, right? Great Depression, a lot of wildlife was hunted to near extinction levels here in America.
10 days in, bro, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Springfield, Ohio, and where are they doing this? Ohio, of course. Where it starts and ends with Ohio. It's the fucking alpha and the omega, man.
But I agree a lot with him. Tuck says, a lot of bushcrafters own lots of gear. It just happens to be only bushcrafting camping gear. You're correct, Tuck. But I think what he's trying to say here is that folks just buy a couple of snares. They never practice setting them up. They don't even really know how to use them. They don't know the limitations. They don't know where to put them. They don't know how best to employ them. And they're not willing to take the time to go out and learn. Right? I think that's the biggest thing, is they're not willing to take the time with the gear that they've purchased and they're betting their life on to go out and practice with it. They just expect that it's going to work magically when they need food, right? Ray Smith says 400 pounds of rice and 400 pounds of black beans. And that is the entrance fee to the prepper paradise, my friend. That's the golden ticket right there. That'll get you in almost any place.
Enjoy.
True story.
I'm gonna
have a great night.
after 13 days of rice and beans, I'm gonna opt out myself, bro. Like, I quit. Like, fuck this.
CUCV Farmer says within 20 miles of me, I have 11,000 cows. Good golly, man.
Now, I
That's a
don't know
lot.
how many of you folks have ever seen the Four Horsemen podcast or know what I'm about. And there is an abundant resource of an invasive species that, like, it's right there. Real ones, if you know, you know.
Mm.
What we gonna feast upon when the day comes, and it's gonna be easy enough.
James
If you
Carroll, I agree about foraging. I think that's something that's a little bit more overlooked, right? Everybody wants to eat the little furry critters, and nobody wants to learn what you're walking on you can actually eat, right? And provide some nutrition. So I think it's
nope, I ain't
a
eating no
great
moss, bro.
a great time to learn some wild edibles. I think it'll be a great bonus for people who are on the move on foot, right? If you can literally pick lunch while you're walking, you never really get hungry, right? You're constantly snacking on something. Jay Creature says, leaves of 3, forage that stuff. Hell no. Hell no.
Wipe your buttocks with it. It's
And
the
I'm
best thing.
super I'm super leery of berries too, man. I just don't know berries good enough to do it. Vision says the 80-20 blend.
My man.
Uh,
Can we take a moment of silence for like Grok back in the day? Like, oh, every like caveman that died so that we would know what you shouldn't fucking eat and what you shouldn't. Because
R.I.P. Grok.
they had to find out one way. It's like food did like one of three things to you. Like back in the Stone Age, either you lived, you tripped balls, or you died horribly. And
Yeah, the Royal
countless
Taste Tester.
countless shaman and common folk had to learn the hard way so that we might know that the arugula and the stuff that we eat today is good for you and the rest of it's not. Let's go
True story.
show love real quick.
True
Grok,
story.
grok in them. Like,
Rabid Coyote, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in this evening. Appreciate it. But you're not wrong, bro. There's so many.
you know how many fucking plants they had to smoke before they found out that weed was like the one? They didn't just stumble across that shit.
Yeah.
Aliens came down, was like, smoke this one. No, they smoked all of them, bro. They found out. Shit took time. Shit took time. Patience.
Rob B says, those that arrive survive. Terminus, aka the Livingston Man. Oh, peyote foraging. Yeah. Pemicin. Yeah, that's the shit that keep you going, man. If you got the skills and the ability to make it, do it, man. Do it.
Yeah, you got
Do it.
fucking
Save some for
artificial
yourself.
teeth to fucking eat the shit. Yeah, pemmican's awesome until you realize you need a hammer and a fucking chisel to break that shit up.
And you just have
What
to
is
lick
that?
the dust, right?
Yo, let me get. What is pemmican anyway? It's fucking plaster of Paris with bacon flavor. Is pretty much what it is, bro. You dissolve it in your tea, mate. That's why a British got. That's why a British got such great teeth. They're eating fucking hard tack, right, love?
Grinding
Hard
it.
tack. And you dip it in the tea,
Grinding it.
crunch it down, right?
The article goes on to state that prepping has always had political connotations, but going back way further than a decade, I remember when those people were left wing, people such as the mum jittery about the Cuban Missile Crisis, hoarding condensed milk, though never burying it, and having a plan for the nuclear holocaust that was slightly more advanced than the government's advice, which was to take the door off its hinges and lean it against your dining table. The underlying politics were that all authority was ultimate authoritarian, that is, careless of the human beings within it, who, if they were smart, would at least have the makings of a cheesecake when the man made his ultimate error. This is hilarious. You should at least have the makings of a cheesecake before they nuke us. That's crazy. The thinking outlived the imminent nuclear threat of the 80s. When the Iraq War began in 2003, my mom started hoarding water, and she still had a bunch hoarded from Y2K. She said she'd just use it for washing. Now, unmistakably, if prepping has politics at all, it's on the spectrum from individualist right to fundamentalist libertarian.
It's on the spectrum, all right. That's for sure.
Ain't no
Nailed
doubt
that
about
one.
it. No doubt about it. Now, let's see. I'm finding it very difficult to categorize them into anything. They come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different levels of education, and I cannot label them. Preppers are ones who cannot be labeled. They cannot be shoved into a box. Preparedness comes from all political genres, all backgrounds. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. Everybody has that underlying will to survive, right? I think that's the biggest takeaway from this whole entire thing is that what makes you a prepper is that little voice in the back of your head that tells you you can do something about this. Maybe just not on the scale of changing the world, but maybe you can save the world for the people around you, right? I honestly think that's the little clicker that goes off in the back of my head anyway, right? I can't save the whole world, but maybe I can at least save some people around my neck of the woods when things get bad, right?
That sounds to me altogether like normal. Is any biological creature on this planet like is their mindset? Like, don't die.
Yeah,
Uh, but the idea that there are only some of these people implies that there's the opposite. The people who this didn't occur to, like, they're like, oh, like if they found out too late, like you're not supposed to die, like you lost the game, idiot. Like, what NPC level of fucking person are you talking about here? Like, what simulation theory disposable existence is
exactly.
that? And
Exactly. Let's see. There's certainly an Anne Randi passion for its self-sufficiency in the language. You're as physically fit as you can possibly be. You've run flat out for 100 yards in the past week. You've killed organisms and ate them. Once you let the Canadian prepper's voice into your head, he is strangely convincing, but it doesn't map neatly to the communities whose preconceptions tilt way more towards the end of civilization than their own wellness. There are some, frankly, Walter Mitty characters out there, David says. I was teaching a little bit on firelighting, which is a lot easier from the crouched position. This guy couldn't get to his knees. I'm not one to body shame anybody, but if you're preparing for an apocalypse, you have to be able to kneel. Physical fitness is super important, man. At least being able to move around, carry your own weight, um, being able to help. Right? I mean, if you are physically unable to perform, um, you need to bug in, 100%. Bugging out is not for you, and it's tough, man. It's tough.
all right, I'm
Being a
gonna be
butterfly,
clear here.
yeah,
I heard what he said, and I know what he meant by that. But like, if I say, let's say I heard what he said, but I didn't know what he meant by that, you're gonna have to learn how to kneel.
yeah.
Fuck, I will.
Yeah, well, or figure out a way to do it that works for you, right?
I mean, kneeling symbolically. Like I said, if I didn't know what he meant by that, like physically kneel, okay, like yes, you should be physically fit, but let's go philosophical here. Learn how to kneel. What are you gonna? Whose ring are you kissing?
Well, I tell you what, man, if you are of the size that you cannot physically kneel down, things are beyond your capability, right? There's certain things that you are not going to be able to do. If you physically can't hoist yourself up over that fence, then you physically cannot follow. And it was, well, Nice knowing you, unfortunately.
We just went to a dark place here. Sucks.
Yeah. It does. But it is We All Gonna Die Wednesday. I tell you what,
I've started to
I will
wonder.
totally take a knee to start a fire. I will take a knee to help somebody up. I will take a knee to render aid to somebody, because typically when somebody collapses, they're not fucking vertical. And if you're too big to get on your knees to help a member of the team or the community, honestly, you are not of any good to the community.
You are
In
the
all
one the
reality,
community has to help.
it's true. It's true.
Here's a real slippery slope that we're probably just are going to go around this one. We're going to take the easy way down. Like, not coming out. We're not body shaming here. We're not body shaming here. Everybody has a usefulness. Everybody knows what. Everybody
Oh, for
knows
sure.
something. Everybody's good at something.
For sure.
But yes, physical fitness is not your enemy. Some might say it's good for you. Just
get it done, man. Get some exercise in.
within your realm.
In the next 4 minutes, 4 minutes from now, Workshop Wednesdays over on Rural 2 IC's channel. I know he's coming up in just a couple of minutes here, so I don't want to overlap him. Livingston Man, we've got 3 minutes left, and then we're going to kick it for the evening. I want to thank you for joining us on this a little weird We All Gonna Die Wednesday, but indeed, it is a We All Gonna Die Wednesday, and even late, we wanted to bring you something this evening. I appreciate all you coming and hanging out with us this evening and checking out this article. I'm going to drop it one more time in the chat here for everybody. And then after this live stream is over, I will come back and drop that link in the comment section so that if you want to reference it, it's right there for you to grab later on. The article goes on to state, I don't like selling fear. I'd rather promote an active outdoor life. And the industry can tolerate that kind of ambiguity. If you use a rucksack to go camping or for your go bag in case of zombies come, nonetheless, you can see the fear in the shopping lists. Don't buy out of fear, folks. Buy out of need and buy out of necessity, right? Don't buy things out of fear. The last tidbit from the article here says you might meet a prepper who's all about the outdoors, crossbows, animal skinning, and you might meet one who is more than happy to have water stored in the pantry. Once you start thinking about impending disaster, it must be hard to know when to stop. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We really appreciate you being here. If you are on an iPhone or an Android and you double tap your screen, it should give this live stream a like. I'm not sure where they hide the share button or anything like that. Livingston Man just going to turn it off.
I just did some bullshit with the exposure.
But thank y'all for joining us. We really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, and we will catch y'all on the next one. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, out of here.